Hello and welcome back to the Gap Post. I hope that everyone is well. Today I'm going to go over some preparedness information that I want to share with you as it relates to the severe weather that we're seeing across the United States. There were severe storms last night. There are some that are scheduled for or potentially being forecasted for today across different states. And then also there's some things happening across the world that we should definitely take note of as we prepare to enter into the hurricane season. So let's jump right in. The states for today, and please forgive me for looking down at my notes. I will do that periodically throughout the video. But the states that have warnings for tornadoes, severe weather, flooding for today after 5 p.m. will be parts of Texas, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi, Atlanta, and Columbus, Georgia, and parts of Alabama. So definitely, if you live in those areas, please take precaution. Look at your local news, see what's happening. Make sure you and your family, friends, whomever are aware and safe. Because Alabama, they were also hit last night with some tornadoes as well. Which leads me to sharing some information and just going over a few states that were impacted by last night's storms. And it was actually a few fatalities. And so our prayers must go out to those families, those that are impacted by the storms, because there was some devastating, property losses that happened yesterday. And of course, the loss of life. So last night, Kansas, Tennessee, Illinois, Kentucky, South Dakota, Missouri, Alabama, and North Carolina, those states were impacted by severe storms. And, we've been seeing severe weather. We are seeing hailstorms. We're seeing major flooding. Some of those areas experience flooding as well as tornadoes. So, we all should take precaution. There were so many states that I just named. That's like a chunk of our country that was impacted. Last week, it was Iowa, Oklahoma, and a few other states that were impacted. And, each state has something that they contribute to the well-being of our country so far as our crops are concerned. So we may start to see, less crops, less produce in our stores. These devastating storms can definitely impact our economy with job loss and property damage. So we all should just be mindful and just give each other grace as we experience different things that are starting to happen more and more frequently and more severe. So let's touch on very briefly some of the places across the world that are seeing significant storms. There was flooding in Dubai. There is currently flooding issues going on in Brazil. Yesterday, there was footage of an airport completely underwater, and the plane was nearly submerged in water. Brazil have flooding as well. Russia, parts of Asia, hailstorms, just major, impactful, significant weather. And then severe weather, And so I touched on like the crops and things like that, but preparedness is not just making sure that your pantry is full, making sure, and that's a big part of it, right? Like you want to make sure that you have adequate non-perishable food stock. You want to make sure that you have adequate water, both for drinking, for cleaning, and everything else in between. And all of those things are important. But one of the things that I want to touch on in this video is if you are a homeowner, double check your insurance policy. Make your homeowner's insurance. Make sure that you know where your policy is. Make sure that it's up to date so far as the payments, everything. If you've made, if you need to make any modifications on there, please make those modifications and keep a copy. Yes, it's good to have it digitally, but also have a copy in your fire safe or in a waterproof bag. These types of things happen, and the worst thing you want to do is be caught off guard if you have all of your important documents in one place, such as if you have a family of 3 or 4 and a few of you may have certain medications, maybe having a list of your medications on hand, or if someone has an EpiPen, make sure that you have all of your important documents in one place. whether that's your passports, birth certificates, because if it floods and you need to leave in an instant, you can grab all of your important documents, grab everything that you would need in the event that you can't go back to your home. And God forbid that will happen, but people, in different places that experienced those devastating tornadoes, some of their homes were flattened. Some businesses, I think it was a FedEx yesterday that they showed, the storm plowed through part of it. A Dollar Tree warehouse plowed through it last week. The storm plowed through it last week. So what I'm saying is, keep an open mind. If you're new to preparedness, I really want to stress the importance of keeping an open mind to the necessity of thinking ahead and making sure that you have your life in such an order that will allow you to leave home at a moment's notice and grab everything that you need. And also, I do want to mention the website where you can find every article that I discussed, or just different information about world news and different things that are can be impactful to our everyday life. All of that information is over on the website at theguidepost.org. There are checklists there. There are different, resources that I've put up on the website for everyone to use. There isn't a fee for it. I don't know if I'll ever charge, but right now, please take advantage of it and use it to your advantage. So let's talk about evacuation. No one wakes up, start the week off fresh, or you start your day off fresh and you're like, oh, I'm going to evacuate today. That's far less than ideal for many of us. I would venture to say almost every single one of us. No one wants to think about, oh, I'm just going to leave my home today at a moment's notice, right? Unless that's just your plan. But for the sake of, and for the purposes of this video, if you need to evacuate, if there's a storm, right? Like, do you have a storm shelter on your property? If you don't, do you have a basement? If the answer to those are no. Do you know the closest school to you where you can go for shelter? Do you know shelter, where there's shelter in place, set up across your city, state, what have you? Do you have a local friend or relative that lives far enough away from you that you can feel safe, like if they aren't in the zone or in the area of impact? Maybe reach out to them and say, hey, in event of emergency, would it be okay? Can I come there? In the event of emergency, because I'm seeing different storms and we've been experiencing different things. Just have a simple conversation, because you never know when you may need to leave home. Another thing that you should prepare for when it comes to emergencies, weather-related emergencies as it relates to evacuation, is having cash. Like, if you don't have a friend or relative, you don't have a storm shelter, you don't have a basement, okay, but do you have cash saved to take a mini trip, even if it's just for the night or 2 nights, let's say, right? Because most emergencies, you can go back home the next day if it turns out to be nothing. But if you need to evacuate, do you have cash saved for, hotel, gas, food for your family? I know that times right now are financially lean for a lot of individuals and families, but these are the conversations that we must have, and even though they're difficult. Another thing that I would like to point out when it comes to potential evacuations would be pack a bag. Pack a bag that can last you at least 3 days. Just start there. You don't need to think of like packing up for 2-3 weeks. If you can, cool. If not, just start somewhere. Start with a 3-day bag, clothes, your medicine, if you wear contacts, extra contact lens case, the contact solution, toothbrush, all the things that you need every single day for your hygiene. If you have children, pack all of their things in a separate bag. If you have a pet, pack them a bag, because if all hell breaks loose and you're scrambling around the house to grab everything with high stress, that kind of complicates it, right? We're already experiencing day-to-day life, which bring on just general, things that can be frustrating, stressful. and do everything you can to make an emergency situation as calm as possible, right? Like, a lot of people will tell you, and I will even say, like, you shouldn't panic. But reality is, we're human, and sometimes things like this, could you imagine getting an alert on your phone saying immediate evacuation, mandatory X, Y, and Z, and you're in the bed in the middle of the night, you prepare, you already cooked dinner, the family's all, the kids in bed, and then you need to get up, and they're telling you to leave your house within the next 30 minutes to an hour. It would be so easy to say, you know what, cool, I'm going to throw on my sweats, I'm going to throw on whatever, yoga, whatever outfit you want to throw on, grab the kids, get everybody loaded up in the car, and leave. Now, the situation is less than ideal, but it's much more manageable if things are already put in place and in order. Also, stay on top. If you have anyone that has prescriptions, stay on top of those being filled. Try to maintain, at least a few days extra. Because if you need to evacuate, if there are going to be power outages, and power outages don't, as we know, they impact businesses as well as individuals. So businesses can be shut down as well. What will you do if you said, oh, I've been trying to get my prescription for the past, okay, a little yapper dog. If I've been forgetting to go past Walgreens, CVS, wherever to get my prescription for the past 5 days, and now this emergency happens, so just try to stay on top of things that are within your control as much as possible. Okay, and so the last thing before I wrap up this video is going to be about emergency alerts. Double check and make sure that you are subscribed to emergency alerts for your local area. Some people, don't want to be bothered with extra text messages, but it's a good idea to be aware of potential issues with weather. So if you have a weather app on your phone, a lot of times it don't come through as a text. It just gives you like the notification through the app. But double check the news. Sometimes I get it. Most people don't want to be bothered with the news. It can be depressing, whatever the case may be. But just check in, see what's happening, double check the weather. There is absolutely too much going on to be oblivious at this point. And I say that with all due respect. And I say that because this is a preparedness channel primarily. And it is important to be aware of things that are going on around you and things that may potentially impact you. So I hope that this video was insightful. I hope that you take away some information so far as preparedness, such as double checking the insurance policy. And insurance just does not apply to homeowners. It should also, if you're a renter, you should have renter's insurance for your personal property as well. So just make sure you have your insurance. It's a great idea. The weekend is coming. I know it's Mother's Day weekend coming up, but just start putting things together in an emergency bag in case you need to evacuate, because you'll thank yourself later. So again, I hope you found this video helpful. Please like the video, subscribe, share the video, interact with me. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer. And thank you for watching to the end, and enjoy your day.